विमेन एम्पॉवरमेंट हाच आपला विषय आहे. पण त्याकडे वळण्याआधी आम्हाला तुमच्या फॅमिली बॅकग्राऊंडविषयी, तुमच्या लहानपणाविषयी जाणून घ्यायला आवडेल.
अगदी. आणि पहिले तर मला सगळ्यांना थँक्यू म्हणायचं होतं या गेट टुगेदरमध्ये मला बोलवल्यामुळे. माझ्या ज्ञानात फार ॲडिशन झाली आहे कितीतरी गोष्टी, मी तर त्या गोष्टींकडे लक्षसुद्धा देत नाही. काय निळा म्हणा, पिवळा म्हणा, आता जरा मी लक्ष ठेवत. लहानपणाच्या गोष्टी म्हणजे तू जसं म्हटलं तसं माझा जन्म नाशिकमध्ये झाला आणि आम्ही लगेच मुंबईला आलो. माझे आईवडील लगेच मुंबईला आले. तर मी फर्स्ट 10 years ऑफ माय लाईफ मी मुंबईत घालवले आणि त्याच्यानंतर आम्ही नागपूरमध्ये होतो. तर मी खरं म्हणजे स्वतः नागपूरकर हे समजते, कारण माझं टीनेज अँड ऑल दोज इम्पॉर्टंट इयर्स वर ऑल इन नागपूर. पण आमची फॅमिली खूप मोठी होती. आम्ही 5 बहिणी आहोत. मी एकटीच इकडे आहे, बाकी सगळ्या इंडियामध्ये आहेत. आणि माझी आई, 5 बहिणी, वडील ऑफकोर्स आणि माझी आजी, हे सगळे मिळून आम्ही एका घरात राहायचो मुंबईत. आणि माझ्या बाबांनाही खूप भाऊ बहिणी होत्या, आईलाही खूप भाऊ बहिणी. तर माझ्या सगळ्या ज्या मेमरीज आहेत त्या दे आर ऑल अबाउट फॅमिली गेट टुगेदर्स, लॉट्स ऑफ पीपल कमिंग होम. माझी आई नेहमीच सगळ्यांना वेलकम करायची, तर ते मला असं खूप आठवतं. आणि आय हॅव रिअली प्लेझंट मेमरीज. माझ्या सगळ्या काका, काकू, मावशा खूप गप्पा मारणाऱ्या होत्या. And the word wasn't even fashionable yet, but now when I think back, they were all very cool, is what I think. But we didn't call them that then. आणि माझे बाबा मी 10 वर्षाची असताना गेले. ते त्याच्यानंतर what I saw the most is की how courageous my mom was and how she brought us up just single-handedly. Again, that term in India, single mom, was not fashionable. But she truly was the single mom, is what I realize now. आणि मी तिला पाहून मोठी झाली आणि the amount of courage she showed, the amount of म्हणजे financial planning, तिला इतक्या काय वेगवेगळ्या गोष्टी कराव्या लागल्या just to bring us up. आणि त्याचा माझ्यावर खूप परिणाम झाला की माझ्या आईने किती आमच्यासाठी केलं. आणि माझ्या बहिणी खूप बिंदास होत्या. म्हणजे तुम्ही आमच्या घरी आला तर असं वाटेल की गर्ल्स हॉस्टेलमध्ये आलेलं आहे, खूप मस्ती चाललेली आहे, खूप मजा चाललेली आहे. आणि ॲट द सेम टाईम दे ऑल वर्क, दे हॅव गॉटन रिअली गुड सक्सेसफुल करियर. सो आय ग्रो अप इन अ फॅमिली वेअर देर वर लॉट्स ऑफ पॉवरफुल विमेन and who went to all kinds of ends to make sure that their goals were achieved. So I think I had a very fortunate upbringing.
80च्या दशकात मुलींचं इंजिनियर होण्याचं प्रमाण खूप कमी होतं. त्या काळात तुम्ही हे करिअर निवडलं. वॉज देअर एनी पर्टिक्युलर थॉट विच ड्यू यू टू परस्यू दिस करिअर इन टेक्नॉलॉजी?
हो, आणि आहे मात्र खरं की मुली फार कमी होत्या. म्हणजे मलाही आठवतं की मी जेव्हा इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनिअरिंग जॉईन केलं तेव्हा इट वॉज अ क्लास ऑफ 90 पीपल, 90 लोक होते आणि त्याच्यामध्ये 10 मुली होत्या आणि 80 मुलं होते. तर आय थिंक दॅट पर्सेंटेज वॉज ऑलवेज नॉट ऑन आवर साईड. मला आठवत आहे की आय यूज टू लाईक सायन्स अ लॉट आणि मॅथ अ लॉट. मला आणखीन एक गोष्ट आठवते की मला टाईमपास करण्याचा फार नाद होता की म्हणजे उगाच सगळ्यांची जाऊन बोलायचं, खूप सोशल असायचं असं. म्हणजे अभ्यास फार मी जास्ती करायची नाही तेव्हा. आणि मला काय वाटतं की असं मला कळलं की मॅथ आणि सायन्स इज सो लॉजिकल की तुम्हाला फारसं लक्षात ठेवायला लागत नाही. यू डोंट हॅव टू मेमराईज एनिथिंग, यू डोंट हॅव टू. सो ॲज लॉंग एज यू लॉजिकली अंडरस्टँड इट यू कॅन डू वेल. मग तीही गोष्ट मला फार आवडली. म्हणजे कारण मला मग असं फार जास्ती खेळता येईल किंवा खूप टाईमपास करता येईल असंही व्हायला लागेल. तर दॅट वॉज गुड फॉर मी. आणि पण आय रिअली लव्ड इट. आय फेल्ट लाईक सगळ्या गोष्टी, द लॉजिक अँड द फॅक्ट दॅट यू कुड मेक थिंग्स वर्क, राईट. तुम्ही जर असा विचार केला की हाऊ मायक्रोस्कोप्स वर्क और पुली सिस्टम्स वर्क और इवन जस्ट द बेसिक टूल्स अँड बेसिक सायन्सेस, मला नेहमीच वाटतं की दिस इज व्हेरी व्हेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. आणि ऑफकोर्स माय डॅड वॉज अ सिव्हिल इंजिनियर, सो दॅट वॉज अ लिटल बिट ऑफ माय ॲम्बिशन दॅट आय वॉन्टेड टू बिकम अ इंजिनियर. आणि आय ट्रूली एन्जॉयड इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनिअरिंग. म्हणजे आय विल जस्ट टेल यू ऑल की इट्स अ व्हेरी रिवॉर्डिंग करियर. आणि ॲज यू ऑल आर ॲडवायझिंग पीपल, तुमच्या फॅमिलीमध्ये काही यंग मुली असतील ज्या विचार करत आहेत की कोणतं करियर मी परस्यू करू, आय टेल यू engineering is it has been a fabulous career for me, and I'm sure there are lots of engineers in the crowd. Can I ask if there are engineers in the crowd? Oh, look at that. Okay, all right, awesome, very good. So I would highly recommend it.
तुम्ही तुमच्या आईचा उल्लेख केला, त्या तुमच्या रोल मॉडेल आहेतच. त्याशिवाय इज देअर एनी अदर वुमन यू गॉट इन्स्पायर्ड बाय एनी अदर रोल मॉडेल इन युअर लाईफ?
You know, I feel like there are lots of role models who are women and they are around us all the time. आणि कधी-कधी आपण म्हणजे आपण इतकं रेकग्निशन बायकांना देत नाही जेवढं आपण माणसांना देतो आणि पुरुषांना देतो माझ्या आणि माझ्या मते I saw my mother, my sisters. पण मी जेव्हा नोकरी करायला लागली तेव्हा माझे फर्स्ट couple of bosses were women and they were all in their small kids trying to balance work and life but just really smart. आणि मग नंतर आता काय होतं मला की even at Lowe's I feel like I meet so many women. आणि आत्ताच शुक्रवारी मला एका somebody who works at Lowe's, तिचं नाव मॅडी मराठे, आणि तिने मला हे लिहिला मेसेज की she came to know about this and then she was just messaging me and her point was she has 2 kids, ती लोसाठी खूपच चांगलं काम करते आणि her sports interest. म्हणजे जेव्हा मी तिचं सगळं ते वाचलं मी म्हटलं की my God, what a cool achievement for her to have a great family life, to have a great career. आणि माझ्यामध्ये sometimes we are not even celebrating each other. And if you just thought a little bit about your own achievements and what you were able to do, the fact that you are all here so nicely dressed, and I'm really sure that you have lots of things going on. And Ravivar hai, they are working day ahead, and you guys are kind of trying to figure out how to fit all this. And I feel like we are really surrounded by role models, and we should sometimes just open our eyes and acknowledge each other.
तुम्ही टेक्नॉलॉजीच्या क्षेत्रात खूप वर्ष काम केलं. What challenges do you think women face in workforce, particularly like in technology?
Technology is a strange field. कारण खरंच सांगते की it's such a great field for women. म्हणजे technology is a kind of work you can sit in the office and do, right? It's not a civil engineering or production plant job where you're constantly traveling or you're being on a shop floor of the factory. These are really great jobs, right? These are knowledge jobs. Correct? म्हणजे तुम्हाला you don't need physical strength in order to do something, or you don't have to be 6 feet tall to play basketball or anything like that. You could just use your brain and do all these jobs. And having said that, it's really funny as to there are very few women in technology. And I have always tried to think as to why is that. And I think there are a couple of different reasons as to why there are fewer women in technology than there should be. आणि काही कारण मला असं वाटतंय की टेक्नॉलॉजी इतकी चेंज होते रॅपिडली, आणि मला असं अगदी व्यवस्थित आठवते की आय हॅव 2 kids, आणि जेव्हा आय डिलिव्हर्ड अँड आय टूक 3 months ऑफ फॉर बोथ द किड्स, मला असं भयंकर आठवतं की मी 3 महिन्यात ऑफिसमध्ये परत आली आणि मला वाटलं माय गॉड द वर्ल्ड हॅज चेंज ऑन मी. म्हणजे जे मी गेली जेव्हा तो प्रोजेक्ट जो चालला होता, जी टेक्नॉलॉजी आम्ही वापरत होतो, ते सगळं चेंज झालं. मी येईपर्यंत ते म्हणजे world had changed is what I felt. And I think that's very tough for you to just be off for months together and come back and integrate yourself in work is very tough. So in your childbearing ages, I think you find it tough, is first thing. Second thing is there is a little bit of a dude culture in technology, and I think we really should collectively all make sure that that doesn't stay that way. आणि मला असं वाटतं असं मीटिंग्समध्ये वगैरे I feel like there is tremendous amount of pressure on women. कारण तुम्ही बहुतेक करून मीटिंगमध्ये 1 किंवा 2 बायका असतात, just given the percentages, that's how it happens. आणि मग ज्या 1-2 बायका असतात त्याच्यात आपली पुरुषांना अशी सवय असते, आणि I don't think it is about ethnicity, I think all ethnicity, आणि त्यांना अशी सवय असते की खूप कॉन्फिडन्स दाखवायची. माझा मुलगा, मला एक मुलगा आणि एक मुलगी आहे, आणि जेव्हा ते परीक्षेहून परत येतात घरी आणि समजा मी माझ्या मुलीला विचारलं की हे तुझी परीक्षा कशी झाली किंवा पेपर कसा झाला, मग ती म्हणते इट वॉज ओके बट द क्वेश्चन 3.2 आय कुड हॅव आन्सर्ड बेटर, द पार्ट बी ऑफ एसे आय कुड हॅव डन बेटर, आय विश आय कुड हॅव, आणि असं सगळं बरं का. आणि माझ्या मुलाला मी विचारलं की अरे सोमी तुझी परीक्षा कशी गेली, तर म्हणतो आय किल्ड इट. disingenuous. I think he truly believes he killed it. आणि त्याच्यामुळे तुम्ही जेव्हा मीटिंगमध्ये पुरुषांबरोबर बसलेले असतात ते सतत दाखवत असतात की त्यांना किती माहिती आहे आणि दे आर कॉन्स्टंटली युजिंग बजवर्ड, कॉन्स्टंटली बायकाच्या मीटिंग्समध्ये असतील त्यांना जर विचारलं की तुला यू नो एनी टेक्नॉलॉजी डू यू नो अबाउट इट आणि त्या पटकन काय म्हणतील की वेल आय नो अ लिटल बिट बट आय हॅव टू वर्क हार्डर और आय हॅव टू लर्न आणि जर पुरुषांना तुम्ही विचारलं की डू यू नो तर ते म्हणतील शुअर आय डोंट थिंक अगेन they are lying or they are being disingenuous. They really believe they know it. I think we have to I would say that these are the places where we have to copy our male colleagues a little bit. There is nothing wrong in saying, yeah, I will be able to do it, right? Instead of saying, well, I don't know enough, because nobody knows enough, and we'll all learn it. So I think that's very important. Thirdly, I just feel like networks play a really important role at work. आणि आपण काय करतो समजा एखादा हॅपी आवर असेल कामावर म्हणजे बिकॉज ऑफ द ऑफिस आपण जनरली जात नाही कारण आपल्याला काम खूप असतं आपल्याला वी हॅव टू पिकअप आवर किड्स वी हॅव टू मेक डिनर आणि असं होतं आणि ऑल मेन विल जनरली शो अप at these places and I'm not saying go to every happy hour right but be a little bit pay attention to those occasions as well pay attention to because there are informal networks happening कधी कधी learning activity असते at work. They'll say there is a seminar to learn something or there is a subject matter being discussed. Men will show up. Women will say, no, I have to finish my project and I'm going to sit at my desk and put my head to work because you know what, I have to go home. पण माझ्यामध्ये you are losing opportunities by doing something like that. I'll tell you lastly, आणखी एक गमतीची गोष्ट सांगते तुम्हाला. कधी कधी मी both my husband and I have always worked and he's like a super supportive, just an amazing spouse. आणि कधी कधी आम्ही दोघेही घरी येतो आणि sometimes he tell me that he has to go to happy hour, he has to go to this networking event and I'll say sure, I'll be home. आणि समजा हा येणार 6:30-7 वाजता आणि तो येऊन म्हणतो oh my god, this was such a tiring day, I had to work so hard. पण म्हटलं but you just came to a networking happy hour, how can it be tiring? You seem to have had a lot of fun. I told him, no, but networking was like working and happy hour was like working. In their head, they were working. When they went to a happy hour, they were still working. When they went to that networking event, they were still working. आपण जी definition of our work is only when your hands are on the keyboard and you're typing something. तुम्ही जरी स्वयंपाक करत असाल ना तरी सुद्धा तुम्ही गप्पा कोणाशी मारला तर तुम्ही म्हणतील नो आय वॉज नॉट वर्किंग ओनली व्हेन आय वॉज कटिंग समथिंग चॉपिंग समथिंग स्टरिंग समथिंग देन दॅट्स वर्क बट cleaning before and after making dinner you know reading a book to your child you don't take any credit for it there is a lot of work we don't even take credit for and I think we should change our perspective so I would say pay attention to these social occasions pay attention to learning events networking events take credit for the work you're doing and have some confidence when you're sitting in the meeting. I'll tell you only one thing. ते सगळे पुरुष तुमच्या आजूबाजूचे बसलेले आहेत when they say I know it, I am telling you they don't know it. And that's okay. I would say in some cases we have to copy our male colleagues a little bit, is what I think.
मी हे अगदी रिलेट करते माझा मोठा मुलगा 7 वर्षाचा आहे आणि त्याला इतका कॉन्फिडन्स असतो आय गॉट इट हे रिलेट करते Did you ever imagine that you would be in a leadership role in your career?
You know, I don't think so. मी जेव्हा सुरुवात केली माझ्या करिअरची there was so much going on. कारण आपण सगळे आलेलो असतो अमेरिकेत. This is a new country. We are trying to figure our way out. We don't have a green card, so our half 80% of our energy is worrying about or thinking about green card. So there are so many things going on. Then you are also in that age where you're having children. I mean, I think I wanted to make really meaningful money out of my job initially. But I did not think about leadership position. And initially I was like, I just wanted to do well in this country. I think that was my highest priority, and I did not think about leadership. But Malaka, somewhere along the way, after spending 8-10 years, it took me a long time to make up my mind, but after 8-10 years, I just felt like if you're a leader, you can have just a larger influence on people, on decisions. Of course you earn more money. Don't let anybody else tell you anything otherwise. I mean, of course, financial angle is very important. And then I looked at all that and I thought, you know what, why not me? Why can't I apply for this job and stuff like that?
Do you experience any resistance when you work with the leading men, and how do you deal with it?
You know, so here is what I truly feel. There are lots of men who work for me, and I'll tell you, lots of men work with me, and my boss himself is a man, right? I'll tell you, I have had nothing but just excellent cooperation from all 360 degrees, right? My boss, you know, when I was interviewing for LOWE'S, I'm telling you कि बाकी सगळे लोक जे इंटरव्यू म्हणजे they always interview 4 or 5 people, आणि बाकी सगळे लोक they were all men. Some of them were already CIOs. I was not a CIO target when I came here, so I literally got a promotion when I came to LOWE'S. And I feel like, you know, my boss could have easily said, his name is Marvin Ellison, the CEO of LOWE'S. He could have easily said that, you know, I'll go with a conventional choice. Or CIOs don't look like how she looks like. Or they, you know, my color, my accent, my fact that I'm a woman, there were so many things that were not exactly the way they are generally. And he took a chance on me. I have to say that, right? And that was amazing of him to do that. And he is one of those leaders who thinks technology is really important. So for him, this was a very important job. And for him to take a chance on me was just amazing. My colleagues are fantastic. The people who work for me. So, you know, every now and then I may meet a man who is kind of behaving strangely, and you just have to take it in your stride. You just have to say, hey, what's going on? Is there a problem? Talk to me. You know, I asked you for that report last night, and I never got it. Were you not clear you were supposed to send it, or did I not make it clear, or what's going on here? And you just have to kind of ask. But I tell you, there have been so many women important to my success, right? Made me successful. But there have been so many men who have made me successful. And I just feel like at work, men and women both are important. And the sooner we realize that, and the sooner we start encouraging, I think that would be great. All I want to see is good representation of the women population at work. I just want them to be represented just like they are in the population. In the population, there are almost 50% of the women. And then you're sitting around the leadership table, and how come there are only 5%? Like, what happened? So that's what we have to really think about.
So, you already answered a bit of it, but gender equality is a human right, but we still see a persistent gap in a decision-making power of women and men, in access to the opportunities for women. In your career, what progress have you seen on gender equality?
You know, at least the fact we are having a conversation about gender equality is very good. I mean, I think this Me Too movement and, you know, lots of things that just happened really shone a light on what is going on, right? And I'll tell you, I mean, discrimination happens at different levels. And the Me Too movement and Time's Up and all that was one extreme, which was like horrendous and horrific and horrible, right? Like that was horrible. But I think on the other hand, you know, little discrimination is something that the little discriminations that happen throughout is something we can very easily take care of just by helping each other out. आणि मला काय वाटतं, मीटिंगमध्ये असतो आपण जेव्हा प्रश्न विचारले जातात, पुरुष जास्ती बोलतात, जास्तींदा हात वरती करतात, जास्तींदा दे विल कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट, राईट? आणि बायका तशाही दे आर इन फ्युअर नंबर्स, दे विल स्पीक लेस, दे विल बी नोटिस लेस. एकदा मी माझ्या एका टीममध्ये एक मुलगी होती, तिला मी फोन करून म्हटलं की हे यू नो हिअर इज थिंग, शी वॉज फ्रॉम इंडिया, शी वॉज बेस्ड इन इंडिया, आणि मी तिला म्हटलं व्हॉट टाइम इज इट फॉर यू इन द नाईट. ती मला काहीतरी म्हणाली 7:30 in the night, okay? So this is 7:30 in the night, and she's calling in. And I was like, okay, so it's 7:30 in the night, you're clearly sacrificing your time, right? And why didn't you say a single word for the whole meeting? And then she was like, you know what, everybody else was saying which was already, very, very accurate. And I didn't feel like I should unnecessarily say something just to kind of add. And मी तिला म्हटलं की I get it, right? And that's very nice of you. But guess what? This is 7:30 in the night for you. You are making so much time and so much effort to be on the call and not saying even a sentence. People even forgot you were there. And why did you do that? So next time, you should say something. Make your presence known. Even if it means you're repeating somebody else's sentence. Purush are always repeating somebody else's sentence, right? You have to make your presence known. You have to say something. आणि मग आम्ही अशा प्रकारे बोललो की कधीतरी काय होतं, देयर आर 20 पीपल इन द मीटिंग, राईट? आणि आपल्याला कधी कधी असं वाटतं, बापरे, मी जर काही म्हटलं तर कदाचित लोक म्हणतील की हिला काही समजत नाही, किंवा हाऊ कॅन शी नॉट बी सो स्मार्ट, याची आपल्याला भीती वाटत असते. पण म्हणूनच तुम्ही एक बघितलं आहे का की मेन ऑलवेज डू स्मॉल टॉक ॲज सून एज दे कम इन टू द मीटिंग रूम. They'll talk about the football game the previous night, they'll talk about weather, they'll talk about stuff. Now we may not be into football, but we understand weather and we understand something about everything, like whatever was printed in the newspaper. So we should also, that small talk, why they do it is, there are lots of micro signals going on and we should pick up on those micro signals and be very smart about it. The small talk is done so that they feel relaxed. So when the actual meeting starts, they are there to participate, they are there to say something because they have already kind of softened their ground. So what I told this woman on the phone was that, hey, if you feel like at the beginning of the meeting, just ask questions. Can you guys hear me? Can everybody see the presentation? How was your day, right? Because the US folks are still kind of going through their day. Just say those things. That just relaxes you. You feel like your voice was heard. So that when you're asking a complex question halfway through the meeting, then you're not worried about it because you've already softened the ground for yourself. I would say speak up. Make your presence known. Ask a question. Even if you don't have something really intelligent to say, I'm telling you, asking a question is amazing because that just tells everybody that you're curious, you're awake, you're asking a question. Next time, please make yourself a promise. When you are in a meeting, do not come out of that room without having said a single word or without having made your presence known. So I would say those little discriminations that happen, if we all take care of it and we help each other out and make male allies, because male colleagues are there to help you and they'll be more than happy to help you. Men want more women at work, believe me. So just, just to make it interesting, right? If nothing else, they want workplaces to be interesting. So I would say, make male allies, but speak up, make your presence known, ask for what you believe is right. And there are 2 books you should read, actually 3. So one is called Growth Mindset, you must read it. It's a really phenomenal book. There's another called Crucial Conversations and Crucial Accountability. These 3 books, I think every working professional, and whether you're working or you're working at home, I think these books are great for you because working at home is also extremely complex. And I feel like, these are the books that will give you techniques as to how do you talk to people, how do you hold them accountable, how do you ask for what is rightfully yours. And we must practice these things in order to take what is rightfully ours.
So to extend this question, what is women empowerment mean to you and what qualities do you think a woman need to be empowered?
I think women empowerment ultimately, in my mind, means pursuing your life exactly the way you want, without regrets. You make the calls, you make the trade-offs, you decide what you want to do. Everybody's plan and journey is different. Not everybody should be working, not everybody should become an executive, it's different. What makes you happy, right? And then achieving that dream or your plan is the most important thing. And I would say having you have those decision rights instead of somebody else saying, well, you should get married at this age. I think you should have so many kids. Or you should vote or not vote. Or this is how you should think. Those are the things. Financial freedom, right? Like for some people, financial freedom is really important, right? Pursuing your hobbies, right? I think those are all very, very important things. And we being able to pursue those things is really women empowerment, is what I feel.
What makes you feel empowered as a woman at work?
These days, here's the thing. Sometimes you have to think less about yourself and think more about others. आता मी तुम्हाला एक example सांगते. म्हणजे for me, sometimes I feel like, am I connected to reality? And it's very important for me to be connected to the reality. आता मी तुम्हाला सांगते what I mean by that. Like my kids now, Aditi, they are 22 and 18, right? So they are, grown up. They are taking care of themselves, right? Half the time my son is eating in Chipotle and Chick-fil-A, and then he calls me and says, my dinner is already done, right? So my amount of work I do at home for my kids is drastically, right? Like it's day and night, correct? And sometimes I feel like have I lost touch with reality, because there are lots of women at my work who are having kids who are 3 and 5, 7 and 10, 15 and 12, right? Like, and drop-offs and daycare, and these are real things, real issues, right? There are men, I mean, frankly, these days in lots of homes, men are working really hard. They are dropping off kids. They are running the washing machine, right? And I just want to be in touch with mortgages, how people are paying mortgages. What are they doing about, like, how are people thinking about when gas prices go up? What are people thinking about? And I meet lots of people just to find out what is going on, because I don't want to be one of those people who are completely out of touch and हिला काही माहिती सुद्धा नाही की काय चाललंय वगैरे. And for me, empowerment, I'm always thinking about how are other people empowered, because I feel like I think, I'm pretty empowered, and जेव्हा केव्हा मला असं वाटतं की मी empowered नाही आहे, तेव्हा I just say whatever I want to say and I'm fine. Like one day I went to my colleague's office and all my colleagues are, they may be older than me, so at least 3/4 or more than them. And they are men, and they are, they've always been men. I don't have to say that, yeah. So when you go and meet them, they are used to a certain way of thinking, and again, there is nothing right or wrong about it. They are just used to a certain way of thinking. So when I went to one of my male colleagues, and by the way, they are amazing. But when I went to him and he suddenly said to me, hey, do you have good news for me? And I said, hey, that's a funny question, because it completely changes the power dynamic. I'm not this person who's supposed to kind of bring you good news. That's not my job. And I thought about all this in my head. So I said, no, I don't have any good news for you. Let me tell you that. And I raised my voice a little bit, like, I projected, raised in the sense not in anger, but projected my voice. So I was not murmuring, or I was not just eating my words. And I said, no, I don't have any good news for you. And that's not why I'm here, to give you good news. And let me tell you what I'm here to talk about. And then I said whatever I wanted to say. That doesn't, I have immense respect for my colleagues, and they are just a really awesome group to work with. But just pay attention to power dynamic and take the empowerment. The empowered, nobody is going to come and put a tiara on your head and declare you the, what is that, Miss Universe. That only happens on TV, right? I think we have to take what is rightfully ours and take it nicely. I mean, it's not about a win-lose. You can make it a win-win situation. I'm a really big believer in you can actually, when you empower yourself, you're actually doing tremendous favor to lots of people around you. So what I would say is watch for these power dynamic moments. And when you need to take it, you take it. Don't ask them to be given to you. Don't wait for somebody to do that favor to you. Just take what rightfully is yours and take it very nicely and gracefully. And give it to people when it belongs to them, right? Like, I mean, many times, I am in technology, so my job is to serve a lot of businesses. So sometimes I'll go to them and say, oh, I messed up, and this is the problem, and I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to work really hard. So sometimes the power belongs to you, sometimes the power belongs to others. And being able to nicely and gracefully exchange that up and down is, I think, women empowerment. But I think also watch out for empowerment. Like, empowerment of yourself doesn't mean disempowering people around you. That is an important dynamic.
Do you think there is a relation between femininity and empowerment? How can women be empowered while maintaining their femininity?
Femininity is just over the years, I think it has changed so much. मी दुसऱ्या दिवशी एक हे वाचलं, सेंटेन्स वाचलं आणि ते त्याच्यावर त्यांनी लिहिलं होतं की strong is new pretty, and I liked it so much, right? Like strong is new pretty, and I feel like we have been told something for decades and decades, how we had to be really nice looking, how we had to be dressed a certain way, how we had to be polite. Politeness was very important. Even when I was growing up, women's jobs were to keep everybody in balance and keep everybody happy, right? Like the whole house needs to be in a good mood, right? Stuff like that. And I really hope that those of you who are in your 20s and who are younger are hopefully seeing a different world, right? And I mean, I am seeing a different world where I am sitting at my age, and but what I really hope is that every generation is seeing a different world. And what I feel is, femininity is your definition. You make it what you want. If you feel like, one day you feel like dressing up and looking really nice, go for it. One day you feel like you just want to wear a torn jeans and put on a sweater, do it. Because men are never really asking us as to what they should wear if they are looking nice, right? And they are looking nice, no doubt about it. But what I am trying to tell you is, pursue your heart and make yourself comfortable. Because when you are happy, frankly, that's the key to the happiness of your entire house or your community, right? And I just feel like, don't take on this too much societal pressure, what everybody else is thinking, what do they want from me, right? And of course, there are lots of people around us we really love, and we will do stuff for. I mean, we are doing things for our kids all the time, we are doing things for our husbands and brothers and dad all the time. But I would say also reserve some space for yourself. Do things that you really like. Develop hobbies. And I think all these things will make you happy and it will show, right? And don't be that, Hindi movie मध्ये ते दाखवायचं नाही का ती अशी थकलेली आई अगदी जुनी साडी नेसून बसलेली आहे. I mean, what is going on? What was that picture? I mean, characterization, I never understood it. And then, I don't even know if you guys remember the Leela Mishras and the Lalita Pawars of the world. Why were they so miserable? I don't understand. So, I would say, please do not be that. Like, be anything but don't be that. And that, in the Hindi movies, they would show this 25-year-old, 6-foot big boy comes in the house, and then the mom is like, making stuff, doing things. Hey, the kid is pretty grown up. He looks pretty grown up. If he wants tea, he'll just make one for himself. So I feel like giving more responsibility to others instead of you slaving in the kitchen the whole time, right? Invite your husband in. Like when you are both cooking together, it will be more fun. Definitely for you. In this day and age of DoorDash and what are those, all those apps, like when there are evenings when you come home and you feel like you're really tired, don't let it kill yourself. I mean, there are enough things on your mobile phone. You have so much power, I'm telling you. I mean, the mobile phones are the best for women. New work from home is best for women, like, post-COVID. I would say never so much empowerment has come our way. And I would say do not, I really am very serious, do not let this opportunity go waste, right? The flexibility that you are going to get from work, the amount of technology that got unleashed, whether it's Zoom, whether it's, so many different things. Do not, because I am telling you this is a gift for women. Do not let it go waste.
Why do you think we need more women in the leadership, and what is the significant barrier to female leadership?
I think, we need more women in leadership because I truly feel like, for example, Lowe's philosophy is that most of the home purchase decisions are actually made by women. Konta fridge घ्यायचा, should we do kitchen renovation or not? All home buying decisions are mostly taken by women. जेव्हा तुम्ही घर पाहायला जाता नवऱ्याबरोबर, I love it because that is the time you're showing empowerment. की आपण लगेच आज जातो घराला आणि नाही हे नाही. Amazing. Bring it to your office आणि माझं म्हणणं आहे की ऑल दीज डिसिजन्स आर मेड बाय विमेन. आणि म्हणूनच if we did not have enough women who are employees, enough women at all levels, including executive level, right? Then we'll like we said, we'll lose touch with reality. We'll not know what is going on. How are women making these decisions? How are they making these purchases? What are they thinking when they bought this particular washing machine and not that? If we did not know all this, we'll not be able to do good business. So it makes a tremendous amount of business sense. And then also, I feel like bringing women are more nurturing, women are more patient, women are more giving, right? They delegate more, they give more airtime to other people. And we need to have them in the meeting rooms, we need them to have in the, in the classrooms, in the meeting rooms, in the boardrooms, so that you reflect that nicer, side of leadership along with the stronger, because women can also be strong. And I think you see that in leadership, which is really, really necessary. And I really feel like it's good for business, it's good for communities, it's good for overall health of the organization, and we really should have more women at workplace.
आपल्याकडे काही कंपन्यांनी, IBM, फिडेलिटी सारख्या कंपन्यांनी ज्यांचा करिअरमध्ये कुठल्या ना कुठल्या कारणाने ब्रेक झाला आहे, त्यांच्यासाठी रिटर्न टू वर्क असा प्रोग्राम सुरू केला आहे, ज्यामध्ये ते ट्रेन करतात अँड देन दे गिव्ह द ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी. How well that practice do you think is adopted in the industry, and what could be done to get more companies to adopt that practice?
I think that is a good practice. I mean, in India, in our office, we just started something called as, coming back to work. So these are the women who have taken a break because they were raising children or they were taking care of the parents or for whatever reason. And what we are doing is we are trying to get them back into work, fewer hours in a day to begin with. I think what happens is, जसं मी म्हटलं की 3 महिने मटर्निटी लिव्हमध्ये जेव्हा मी गेली होती, जेव्हा परत आली तेव्हा मला असा शॉक सारखा बसला. जस्ट इमॅजिन इफ यू आर आउट ऑफ वर्क फॉर 5 to 6 years. I feel like it is intimidating when you go back to work. It is extremely intimidating because you feel like, hey, all these other people are talking this language, terminology, and you feel like you've fallen behind. Terminology is these are like secret handshake. People have these secret handshakes with each other. They know the right words and they are talking to each other, and that creates a club culture, right? Like only these many people are in the club and stuff like that. And I think that's hard for us to kind of break back into work. But I think what we should do is here is हे असल्यामुळे this is another thing I've seen about women. आपण फार दूरचा विचार करतो कधी-कधी, आणि फार दूरचा विचार करू नये, कारण इट डझंट हेल्प अस. म्हणजे जेव्हा माझी मुलं फार लहान होती, एकदा म्हणजे आय रिमेंबर दिस व्हेरी क्लिअरली की माझी मुलगी 3 वर्षाची होती, मी घरी आली कामावरून आणि मला आय सॉ हर and then I knew that she has asthma because I had seen asthma, and when she was breathing the way she was breathing, I was like, we have to go to the ER right now. आणि आम्ही ER मध्ये गेलो आणि माझा नवरा, मी आणि माझी मुलगी, आणि I was just sitting there and she was inside with the nurse and all that. आणि माझ्या नवऱ्याला म्हटलं, I think I should just leave my job. That was my first sentence out of my mouth. And my husband is he is just like an amazing husband. And he was sitting there and he just said to me only one sentence, and he said, we'll think about it later, right? He said, let's just get through this, we'll think about it later. And you know what? I think if he had said something like, no, you should not leave your job, I would have fought with him in the emergency room, which is never a good thing, right? And unnecessarily we would have gotten into lots of complicated matters. And I think at that time what he said to me was priceless when he said, we'll think about it later. He didn't say more than that. Sometimes you have to just say, we'll think about it later. And I feel like when my kids were growing up, मला फार म्हणजे काळजी वाटायची की मी काम केल्यामुळे माझी मुलं बिघडणार. And when you let it happen in your brain, you can go to, आणि म्हणजे जेव्हा तुम्ही दूरचा विचार करता, फारच दूरचा विचार करता, म्हणजे मी आता हे बिघडणार आहे, यांचा एकदा अभ्यास होणार नाही, म्हणजे यांना ग्रेड्स चांगल्या मिळणार नाही, ग्रेड्स चांगल्या मिळणार नाही म्हणजे बहुतेक कॉलेजला जाणार नाही, म्हणजे बहुतेक कॉलेजला जाणार म्हणजे नोकरी तर नक्कीच मिळणार नाही, मग यांच्याशी लग्न कोण करेल. आणि हे तेव्हा म्हणजे 5 आणि 8 वगैरे म्हणजे या वयाचं. आणि मी म्हटलं, आय डोंट नो व्हॉट हॅपन्स, दे फॉल इन टू बॅड कंपनी, मे बी दे बिकम ड्रग ॲडिक्ट्स. नो, I just came late from work at 7:30 in the evening to my kids being unemployed, unmarried, drug addicts. What is going on? This is called tailspin, right? Like sometimes you're like, oh my god, this is going to happen. When मी आता वापस जाणार आहे कामाहून after 4 years of break, everybody's going to hate me. Then I'm never going to do a good job. Don't get into tailspin. Don't think too much. Just think, how am I going to spend the next 2 to 3 weeks at work? What is the best productive use of my time, right? And that's what I started, thinking immediately, right? Immediate decisions are important. What are you going to make for dinner? Am I prepared for tomorrow's meeting? Am I situated well with my kids to do the Friday test, right? That's very important. You should also think really far-fetched, far into the future. What do you want your life to be like? When you're retired, 65 years old and sitting on your patio, how would you want to feel? When your kids are really like they are 35, 40 years old, what kind of people do you want them to be, right? I think that's great. Just like this far thinking and very near thinking, both are very useful and very good. Actually, far thinking gives you a North Star, right? Because sometimes I thought, what do I want to be when I grow up, right? And that's really awesome. This middle thinking is very dangerous. की 6 महिन्यात काय होणार आहे किंवा 1 वर्षात काय होणार, very dangerous because you will think just the worst things. आणि माझ्यामध्ये तुम्ही समजा ब्रेक नंतर कामाला गेले आहे and let's say for a minute you get fired. What's the worst thing? You were already fired. You were already sitting at home. Jobless. At least you gave it a try, right? And you may opt out. You may go and you may say, I didn't like it. I like working at home. I'm much more productive. I'm happier. And everybody's happy. I want to be at home. That's a great decision. But at least you gave it a try. You saw what happens. You pursued your dream. You pursued what you thought were the limits of your, what you could do. And then if things didn't work out, big deal. I mean, there are so many times when things are not going to work out exactly to our plan. And I think risk-taking, we are too harsh on ourselves when things go wrong, right? Even just think about making stuff in the kitchen. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I did this and stuff like that. And I'm like, give yourself a break. I mean, it's cooking. Indian cooking is not easy. And the fact that you guys are producing anything in the kitchen, you should be given a Nobel Prize or something. So I would say, don't be too harsh on yourself. Don't unnecessarily torture yourself by thinking through all kinds of scenarios. I would say think less. मला कधी वाटतं पुरुषांची ती आणखीन एक फार चांगली क्वालिटी आहे. कधी कधी आता माझा नवरा बसला असतो, मी त्याला जाऊन विचारते, तू कशाबद्दल विचार करतोय, काय चाललंय? कारण तो असा मला वाटतं की तो विचार करतोय. पण नाही, काय नाही, मी असं नुसतं बसलाय. दिस इज अमेझिंग. 25 गोष्टींमध्ये विचार करत असतात. आज मी काय करणार आहे, मग उद्या कसं होणार आहे, मग असं कसं, माझी मावशी येणार आहे, 30 थिंग्स यू आर थिंकिंग अबाउट. कधी कधी जाऊन कोणत्या पुरुषांना विचारलं काय कशाबद्दल विचार करतो, खरंच सांगते तुम्हाला. आणि ते छान असतात लोक, म्हणजे ते असे साधे असतात. कशाबद्दल विचार करत नाही, नुसतं बसतो. कधी कधी आपण नुसतं बसत